My name's Roger and I'm from the United Kingdom. You probably can tell by the accent. And this is our product from the United Kingdom, which we've been actually working on for 10 years. It was very innovative when we started. A lot of people had never heard of wool being put into a comforter for bedding, but in the UK and perhaps here, 60 years ago, everybody slept under wool. And then as time passed, for some reason, in came feather, in came polyester, and suddenly everybody was using a comforter instead of a blanket, because in fact blankets are far better for you. And why is wool better for you? Well, it's all to do with the structure of wool. Wool is really quite magical. I've got a small piece of wool here. This is what we call carded wool. In other words, the wool has been shorn from the sheep, it's gently washed and then combed, which is called carding. And this has really gone back to the way it is actually on the sheep itself. So this is the best form to actually get wool. And you probably can't see this, but I'm pulling out the wool and so I can see the individual fibres. Now if we were to take those fibres and we were to twist, we would be able to spin and weave. And the reason we can spin is because on every fibre of wool there are little hooks all the way down. And it's those hooks that are allowing me to do this and turn it into a spinning. And when mankind realised this went on, that they were able to spin and weave, of course the sheep became very important because we could actually have not just warm clothing. And this is what I'm going to get onto now. That wool, everybody thinks wool just keeps you warm. Well no, that's only part of the story. Because these little hooks do something very, very magical. The best way to understand it is if I said to you, you imagine what a pine cone's like? And the pine cone opens and closes, and it does that even when it leaves the tree, and you were to bring it in the house for Christmas or something. And if I were to say, what makes this open and close, I'm sure you would know that it's moisture and temperature that actually makes the pine cone open and close. This is the same principle with these hooks on the wool. If you are very cold and I now touch the wool has to react to my hand or my body, and if it's cold, those little hooks open immediately and trap air and then begin to warm you up. And then as you get hot, in fact already this wool is quite hot because my hands are hot and it's taking my heat away. So wool doesn't keep you warm, it actually regulates your temperature. Too cold warms you up, too hot will cool you down. And this goes on constantly, and this is the way the sheep regulates its temperature. And so during the hot summer, when perhaps there's sheep in the fields that haven't been shorn, they don't die, which you would think they would from heat exposure in a big woolly jumper. And it's the wool that is actually keeping the temperature of the sheep regulated. But that's just the start of it. The next amazing thing is that it wicks away moisture. So you don't sweat into wool. Now, it will actually absorb 30% of its weight into itself. Now that sounds like, well, that makes the wool a bit moist and damp and a bit of a problem, which is what happens with feather, but no, it actually draws it into its central core. So the outside of the wool remains dry. And then when you get out of the bed, it will wick away that moisture. So regulates temperature, wicks away moisture. But that's not the end of it. The next thing, which I think is amazing, and I've only actually discovered this in the last couple of years, we knew that wool was naturally hypoallergenic. Now we didn't know technically quite how this happens, and it's fairly simple. Bacteria cannot survive in wool. Now I pause because that's what I call a dramatic pause. It wasn't probably a pause enough. But think of it. bacteria cannot survive in wool. There's no moisture in wool. There's no sweating in wool. It's taking my heat away. And then lastly, dust mites hate it. So it makes it incredibly clean. What better to spend 8 hours every night in something that's very, very clean? So that's the magic of wool. But why is it so important to us when we're sleeping? Well, when it comes to health, and I've got the 8 laws of health here, it's telling me that I need God's sunshine. That's absolutely true. And it's sunny out there today, and I personally am one of those SAD people that really suffer if I don't get that sun. Then open air. Yeah, we all need to get out there, get the fresh air. Daily exercise. We need proper rest. We need lots of water. And we need good nutrition. Now, I want to just pick 3 things out of there to make it simple. If you want a healthy life, if you want to live longer, you want exercise, you want good nutrition, and you need good rest. You need good sleep. Because we all know we need deep sleep. And if you don't know what the body does during deep sleep, it regenerates itself. It fights illness. Little children grow. That's how important it is. But to go into that state, which is actually a dormant state during the night, your heart rate has to go down, your blood pressure has to go down, and so must your temperature. And I'm emphasizing temperature because that is the key. The other things can happen, but under normal bedding, your temperature during the night will go up. That's it. Feathers down, duck feathers, duck down, polyester, all increase your temperature. They are not regulators. So during the night, your temperature starts to rise. And as your temperature starts to rise, you wake up and you have to cool yourself down. So this is why wool is so crucial, because it will actually allow your temperature during the night to go down, giving you more deep sleep. And in fact, even science says you should get at least 25% more deep sleep. So really, we're not looking at a comforter in the normal sense of the word, or a wool pillow, which we'll come back to in a minute, in the normal sense of the word. We're looking at health. It's clean. It's so clean, you don't need to wash this item. You only need to air it. Okay, I can hear people saying, but wait a minute, what if I spilled coffee on it, or the dog's sick all over it? Well, you treat it like a very delicate, expensive sweater. So you wash it very carefully. If it's just a spill, it's a hand wash where it is, quite simple, and it will dry without any problems. We've got more information about the care of the product. I don't want to go into that at the moment. What I want to concentrate on is the qualities of the product and how it can help. So we've talked about the comforter, duvet, which of course we sleep on underneath. We have a cover, of course, which then you wash the cover, and my wife actually says when you take it out of the cover, if it doesn't look dirty, you don't wash it. And the main thing is, as you wash anything, it denigrates it. So avoid washing at all costs. It doesn't need it. And think of the Middle Ages when, well, I used to think of the Middle Ages as being a very smelly time because they never used to have to bath very much or even wash that much. But now I know about wool. All their clothing was made from wool or silk or cotton. And so, but particularly the poor people, it was all wool. And because of what I've said, it was much cleaner and much less smelly than we would imagine. And I go back to that because a lot of what we wear and a lot of what we sleep under, because of bacteria and because of moisture, that's what makes things smell. The New Zealanders make a sports base layer that you can wear, and that is made from merino wool, and you can wear it for weeks. You can go skiing for 2 weeks and it won't ever smell. A pair of wool socks, Huggy boots, I think that's what they're called, I don't know if you've got them here, that they don't need cleaning and they don't smell, no bacteria. This has been recently made. I mean, I flew out from UK only 4 days ago, and these items had actually been made specially for me to bring out. So it's still in a tight state because it's all made under tension through our quilting machine and so on. Which means at the moment the wool is actually squeezed down, as opposed to that. This is actually a sample that's been cut off one of these, and you can see how nice and lofty it is, nice and puffy. I can do that, and then up it comes again. You can do that, I can do that. I've done this and left wool for a month, sorry, 3 months, with an elastic band, rubber band around it, took the rubber band out, and that's what it did. It just bounces back. Never lose its loft. Your down feathers, they just break down. Your polyester breaks down. This is once in a lifetime purchase. You will, if you purchase this, not only will you be healthier, but it'll be the last one you will actually have to buy. It will last you forever. So the thing I was about to say was, because the cotton is so tight, the only air that can get in is through the stitching. So what you'll find, instead of going flatter during its life, after a while, and it's been on the bed, without you having to fluff it, which you often have to do with down feathers, it will naturally begin to loft. And I can remember vividly when we made the very first one, and we were prototyping the first one, we were testing it ourselves. We knew nothing about this. We're farmers, by the way, and that's how it started. We were looking for something to do with wool. My wife was making the bed one day. It had been on the bed for 4 or 5 weeks, and she said, "It's growing." It's growing. And I've got one on the bed at the moment. We do a light, and we do a medium, and we do one we call a winter, which is for very cold people, not necessary for the winter. And I was convinced it was the winter one, because it's so lofty. But anybody who's smart and saying, "Hang on, you just told me this wool regulates people's bodies." Oh, I forgot to mention it regulates 2 different bodies in the same bed, because it has to react to whatever's touching it. So we do a light, which is 300 to 350 grams per square metre. We do a medium, which is 400 grams per square metre, and we do we call it a winter, which is 500 grams per square metre. Well, why do you do 3 if it regulates temperature? Well, the best way to explain that is, I've got sheep in North Wales, and we live in a national park, and believe it or not, we've got mountains. I know a lot of people don't believe Britain's got mountains, but we have. So the sheep there, the climate is much more severe, and the wool on our sheep is like this thick. Whereas if you were to see some sheep in Spain or in Australia, the fleece is only that thick, because too much wool and it will be too warm for the average person, because you're not living on a Welsh mountain. But you might be a very cold person, or you might live in a cold house. Back at home, we've got a lot of natural stone houses, and they can be pretty cold. So we are on quite unusual, my wife and I, we actually live in the roof of the building. So we have a light one in the summer, and we have a medium in the winter. We never go to our winter weight, because we find it too warm. But normally, if you get the right weight for you personally, it'll last all year. But obviously we don't mind if you buy a light one and a medium, do we? If you find you want 2 rather than 1. But it's not essential. We're not trying to sell you something you don't need. This is one continuous sheet of wool in here. And it's made in one continuous sheet. And it runs through a quilting machine. I didn't discuss the quilting. You'll see this is in long channels. Now your normal comforter and your normal quilt will be patchwork. It'll be in sections, diamonds, squares. And so we used to make them like that when we first started, because everybody does that. so that must be the way. And we were having problems with our development. We were having problems. We have a multi-needle quilter. It's quite a complex machine, and things were going wrong. And they said, could we do straight quilting lines instead of diamonds and squares? We said, okay, do what you want. And the first one came out in quite tight sections. When it got down to us, where we do the cutting, do your individual twins, queens, kings and so on, we pulled the quilt out onto the cutting table, cut through it, and immediately the wool went like that, just like this is, because it's not held down. And we thought, wow, that's a good idea. So we didn't want it looking like an air mattress, which is what it looked like, so we realised we would need to go to the wider channels. And the advantage of that is freeing the wool. So what you end up with is a much better quilt, which the wool isn't held down with too much quilting. But another feature is it's got a lovely drape to it. And notice, when we were going to make these, my wife said we can't call it a wool duvet or a wool quilter or quilt or a wool comforter, because it sounds so old-fashioned. It sounds heavy, itchy, and we just can't sell that. So I said, okay then, what do you want to call it? She said, we'll call it a Baavet. And of course, it's not itchy because the wool's inside. And if you want to know why wool is itchy, it's those hooks that you can't see, but you can feel in a sweater. So it's not itchy because we've got this beautiful, soft, shiny sheen. And I say that importantly because that actually will resist dirt, so that's another advantage. Beautiful, light and fluffy comforter, and it drapes well. So especially if there's two in the bed, it will not only drape down the side, it'll drape between you. So it'll get rid of that cold patch. So that's another advantage of having these channels. And as with all inventions, it was an invention by mistake, should we say. I'd just like to turn to the pillow here. This is just demonstration cover here, showing the logo. You might be able to see my fingers through this. I don't know if you perhaps have a little bit of a close-up. You can actually see the threads, the cotton threads. Now, that is normal cotton. That's not expensive cotton. And what we're actually dealing with here, both on the comforter and on this pillowcase, this isn't the pillowcase, this is actually the pillow, as it comes to you. This is what we call cambric cotton, or calendared cotton. This is very expensive. You can't see your fingers through this. This is actually 240 threads to the square inch, making it very tight. But it's to make it even tighter, it goes through a heat process, which actually shrinks it. So this particular cotton, you can't actually blow through it. If I put that on my mouth, I can't actually blow through it. What's the advantage of that? Two things. It's dust mite proof. According to the British Asthma Society, dust mites can't even get through that. So that's obviously an advantage. The other thing is, if you actually spilt something, if you were very quick, it doesn't soak in. What we use is this beautiful carded wool. That's just to prove that we don't mess about with the wool. Teeny little bit of vegetation. You don't want any chemicals, do you, on your wool? And the only way we can deal with that is to put acid on the wool, and that would damage it. So here we have this lovely little bobble wool. Unfortunately, you can't touch it. And if you did, you'd see it was really nice and fluffy. It then makes a really nice pillow. I think you can see me doing this. Notice how it just comes straight back up. Now if you went out and bought a polyester pillow, I've seen it advertised, lasts forever. Well, that's a good joke, because they won't. And eventually they go flat. Particularly feathers. Feathers disintegrate over time. Lots of dust mites, bug beds, bed bugs even. No, they're not bed bugs, they are dust mites. There's something different. But this will continually loft up forever, just as I demonstrated with that, because the wool is already crinkly, you cannot straighten it out. A bit like my hair, really. And I have a lot of trouble with my hair, and that's why I keep it short, because it'll be all bushy otherwise, just like a sheep. Was that a bar I got from you? You've got to have a little bit of a laugh here.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be too serious. Right, back to serious. So, we've got this wonderful loft, and why have we got a zip? Well, for two reasons. One, unfortunately, although this is a cambric cotton, the same as that, I don't know how to say this, so I can only say it directly. People dribble. You know, you can't help it. Some more than others. So you will want to wash this. That's brought a laugh from the production team. Trying hard not to laugh. So you will want to wash this more than that. It's unlikely to need to wash your comforter, pillows, very, very likely. So it comes with a zip, because again the wool is still clean. So you just take your wool out. We do sell those separately, so you can buy a pillow plus an extra, so you can put that straight into a clean one while you wash this one. So that's the first reason. The second reason, if you get your beautiful Baavet pillow and it's too firm for you, guess what? You just take some wool out. About 100 grams, and I can't do it now, but 100 grams will change it from a firm pillow to a medium pillow. And if that is still too firm for you, you just take another 100 grams out and you'll have a very, what we call, soft pillow. So, two advantages. You're not going to be stuck with the wrong pillow for you, because you can alter it. And to be honest, I had a neck injury just over 18 months ago, and it was from a climbing. I damaged myself while I was rock climbing. Yes, I still can. I can't walk very well, but I can still get on. I'm okay when I get onto a rock face. The injury got into the back and ended up in the neck, to the point where, as I was driving, I was actually having to do this. I couldn't turn properly. So obviously I was going to physios. It was costing me a fortune, $40, $50 for an hour, coming out and still no improvement. And I was thinking, why isn't my wonderful Baavet pillow being therapeutic and helping my neck? Because wool is very therapeutic, which I want to talk about shortly. And the answer was quite simple. How do you keep the pillow like that? Well, my wife says beat it up. So she beats her pillow up every night, which is very lucky because it's not me. So she does this every night, and that's wonderful. Me being a bit of an idle guy, I just put my head on the pillow. And after a few nights, I have a nice little nest. And that suits me. I'm just quite happy. But it doesn't support your neck. And the minute I realised that...
Sounds like a pain in the neck.
It certainly does. And the minute this is a personal joke, which... Anyway, so immediately I realised that, every night because you can with these pillows, I put it into the neck. Within a week, I've had no problem with my neck whatsoever. So if you've got a problem with your neck, this may either cure it or it certainly will improve it. The only thing I would say is a bit of a repetitive strain I've sort of done. So occasionally the neck does start to go a little bit again because I get idle. So I just get back to putting it in my neck on a regular basis, and it keeps the problem at bay. Continuing, on the therapeutic theme, what we've got here, I don't think we've talked about health, have we? We've talked about sleep, haven't we? So the idea is that this will give you 25% more deep sleep. So that obviously is going to help with anybody that has any medical conditions. Wool will benefit you. Can I talk about eczema and asthma? Asthma, as we know, is particularly caused by spores, bacterial spores, so we haven't got that. Asthma is also caused by dust mites. We haven't got that problem. When it comes to eczema, this is a dry skin condition, and what happens is if the skin is dry and then you become too warm, it ends in scratching, it ends in scabbing, particularly in children, because they can't resist the scratch. And during the night, what happens with the average person with eczema is they go to bed, and under normal bedding your temperature rises, and consequently, whether they're aware of it or not, they're scratching. I was reminded of an incident I was telling my friends here. Some years ago, we have on the farm what we call self-catering. This is a holiday let. We have a barn converted so families come and stay on holiday, because we're in a holiday area of North Wales. And a family came, and obviously we had Baavets on the beds, and they had such beautiful sleep. They said, well, we'd like to buy for the family a set of the Baavets, please. So yeah, fine, take them home. It was a matter of days, literally just a few days, when the dad phoned me up and said, I've got to tell you that my little girl, I didn't tell you at the time, my little girl's got eczema, 10-year-old little girl. She came downstairs to me the other day and said, Dad, it's gone. Now, I'm not saying we'll cure your eczema. I'm not saying it will cure your asthma. I'm not saying it will cure your cancer. But I can assure you, because people come back and tell us, we have endless emails, we have letters, we have cards. People phone up to thank us for how it's improved their lives. And we've had several ladies. It didn't cure their cancer, but of course when you're going through chemo and all the problems, you do need extra rest. It's often difficult to get rest and sleep, and so they've said it gave us such good sleep. It helped in our recovery. So that's the therapeutic side of wool. We've dealt with the pillows, we've dealt with the comforters. And there's one other item you might want to think about, and that is our mattress topper, which we actually call a mattress protector, which in fact it will do. It will make your mattress actually last longer.
Oh, turn around.
Or if your mattress is getting a little bit old, this will actually regenerate your mattress. The big thing is, we discussed the fact there's no bacteria, that it regulates your temperature. So at the moment we've been talking behind your head. By the way, the pillow will keep your head really cool. None of that moving the pillow because it's too warm. It will keep your head cool. The only thing that we haven't discussed is this mattress topper underneath. Now, to tell you how this came about, when I was a boy, I was brought up by my grandmother, and my grandmother, being Granny, knew best. And so during the winter, she would always put a woolen blanket underneath the sheet, on top of the mattress, under the sheet. Obviously, to us, it was to keep us warm, because I didn't know about the regulating. So we decided to prototype a mattress topper, and we did this in the middle of summer. Now, Granny always took the blanket away for the summer, and in those days I didn't know about the amazing properties that I've been telling you that wool has. So there we are. I have to test this mattress topper in the height of June, and Granny wouldn't do it. So I assumed I'm going to get into bed and be too warm, because I thought wool just makes you warm. But we've got to test it. So I get into bed and instantly I'm warm. I think, oh no, Granny's wrong. And I was asleep. And that mattress topper is still on the bed now. Because obviously wool regulates your temperature. You can keep it there winter and summer. And that is the great benefit of our mattress toppers. This product is top of the range because we actually here have organic wool. This is wool that's been grown on organic sheep. And just for the record, these are free-range sheep. These are not sheep that are housed factory-wise. There's no factory system there. They range freely over the hills of Wales and England. To be honest, a lot of this wool is from north, directly from farmers. We buy directly from the farmer, we give them a fair price, and therefore in that way we get a better product from them. So we have organic wool, and then we have organic cotton. So there are no chemicals in any of these products in front of you, making it even cleaner than a basic wool comforter. The full set is your pillow, your mattress protector, and your actual Baavet. I like to call it a Baavet. In fact, don't forget, we have all our customers love our Baavets. And while I'm talking about it, there are people that email us and say, I'm on holiday, I can't wait to get back to my Baavet. And personally, folks, I take mine everywhere. Guess what? I brought one from the UK for me to sleep under in my hotel. They think I'm crazy. I say, do not go in there and move my Baavet. Because once you've slept under wool, that's it. You can't sleep under anything else. Because once your body is, on a serious note, once your body is regulated on a regular basis in bed, it gets used to that. Put you back into a polyester, is going, what are you doing to my body? And I had a birthday, and my wife wanted a surprise, let's go away for the weekend. It was done in such a rush, we didn't take our Baavet. So this was the winter. It was actually this time of year. It's my birthday next week. And so we go off to this hotel. We get there, we go, oh no, we haven't got the Baavet. And it was a really old hotel, rickety windows, but a great big lovely down duvet. Well, it would be to you, but as soon as I thought it, I thought, no. Anyway, we tried to sleep under it. Now, this was a cold room, rickety windows in the winter, and it was like, after about an hour. So what did we do? We took the comforter out of the duvet cover, threw it on the floor, and we slept under the duvet cover. So, beware. If you buy one of these products, take it everywhere with you.